Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will give you a brief picture of Jahannam. Therefore, we will introduce you to the 7 main aspects of hell. If you want to learn more about the details, make sure you stay tuned and keep watching until the end, so you will be prepared to avoid hell. Allah Almighty has repeatedly mentioned heaven and hell in great detail in the Holy Quran. Fire and hell have been mentioned relatively more times. Perhaps this is because the majority of human beings accepts the influence of intimidation rather than persuasion. Allah knows best. Hell is a place that Allah Almighty has created to punish the people. The mention of hell keeps coming on the tongue of Muslims, but they are oblivious to the actions. Actions to avoid it and stay safe because they are unaware of its heart-shattering punishment and the troubles that will befall the people of hell. Therefore, the state of hell is briefly mentioned here so that we can avoid sins easily. Remember, the punishment of hell is reality. Denying its reality is disbelief in Islam. Number 1. The ranks of hell. It was narrated from Hazrat Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, that there are 7 ranks of hell. So first, the first tier will be filled, then the second, then the third. In the same way, all the other tiers will be filled. By name, the ranks of hell are Jahannam, Lazi, Hutama, Sa'ir, Saqar, Jahim, and Hawiya. Number 2. The depths of hell. Only Allah knows the size of hell, but we also know about it from hadith, as it is narrated in Sahih Muslim on the authority of Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, that once we were sitting in the service of the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, when we heard the sound of something falling. He said, "Do you know what is this sound?" We said, "That only Allah and His messengers knows best." He said, "This is a stone which Allah had left to fall down at the mouth of hell, and it has been falling down for 70 years, and now it has reached the bottom of hell. This is the sound of the stone falling." In another narration of Jamia Tirmidhi, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that hell is surrounded by 4 walls, in which the width of each wall is a walking distance for 40 years. Number 3. The fire of hell. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that hellfire was burned for 1,000 years. Then its fire became red. Then it was burned for another 1,000 years. Afterwards, its fire became white. Another 1,000 years later, the fire became red. In the end, the fire of hell will become black, narrated in Jamia Tirmidhi. There is a tradition that the fire of the world prays to Allah, "O Allah, do not take me back to the fire of hell." That is the fire seeking refuge from Allah, but the human being is so weak and incapable that he is not afraid of the fire. Rather, he is going ahead and surrendering himself to the fire by committing wrong deeds. Deliberately wasting the prayer is surrendering oneself to the fire of hell. Similarly, lying, perjury, backbiting, etc. are all sins. We all know that the punishment of hell is for these sins. But still, how stupid and ignorant are we to commit sins intentionally and with joy. Number 4. The body structure in hell. Since it will be impossible to bear the punishment of hell in the present body, the size of the hell dweller will be greatly increased, which in itself will be a form of punishment. It will be equal to a mountain, narrated in Sahih Muslim. The thickness of the skin of disbelievers will be equal to the distance of 3 nights' journey. Its molar tooth, or the cannon tooth, will be like the size of Mountain Uhud. Some of the dweller will have a distance of 70 years between their ear and shoulder. The sitting place of dwellers of hell will be equal to the distance between Mecca and Medina, 410 kilometers approximately. The distance between the shoulders will be like 3 days traveling for a fast rider. The arms and thighs of dwellers will be equal to mountains. This huge size of hell dwellers will increase their suffering and torment. The skin is the most sensitive part of the human body in terms of pain. That is why the skin will be burnt again and again in hell to cause pain. Number 5. The garb of hell. Verse number 19 of Surah Al-Hajj tells us that the clothing of fire has been prepared for the inhabitants of Jahannam. Molten copper will be used for its making. Any type of clothing has two main purposes. One is to cover the body, the other is to protect from the weather. If the clothes catch fire, the whole body will be burned. If someone is dressed in fire clothes, what do you think will be his condition? Number 6. The food and drink of hell. One of the main trees of hell is the tree of Zaqqum that springs up from its bottom. It's a poisonous, filthy tree. Its fruits shall be like melted lead boiling inside the bellies. People will be forced to eat from it. Another type of food, which is mentioned in the glorious Quran, is dari, a thorny bush with poisonous thorns. Another type of food served to the people of hell is ghuslin. It is nothing but the filth that results from the washing of wounds. It is not only disgusting, but also it affects the stomach and the intestine. It is extremely horrible. It is a kind of food that burns the throat and the esophagus even before reaching the stomach. It is the cause of severe pain and terrible suffering that goes beyond description. Some of the sinners shall be fed fire as food, like hot burning coals. Out of such sufferings and food, when the inhabitants of hell will ask for water, then they will be served extremely hot water, namely hamim, fazak, sadid, muhul. This hamim water will be so hot that if even a single drop falls on the mountain of the world, the mountains will melt. A study of the Quranic verses shows that the people of hell will not be satisfied only being given hot water, but it will also be poured on their heads, and in both cases, their bowels will be disgorged. Number 7. The punishment of hell. The punishment of the people of hell will vary in degree, ranging from chains, fetters and hammers to fire, snakes, scorpions, and they will be accompanied by their idols and devils who distracted them. Now we will have a short brief look at a few of them. The snakes and scorpions of hell. According to a Sahih Hadith, in hell there are snakes like the necks of Bakhti camels. When they sting, the pain of their poison is felt for 40 years, and in it there are big scorpions like mules. Also when they sting, the effect of the poison is felt for 40 years. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the lightest punishment of hell is that shoes of fire will be put on his feet, due to which his mind will begin to boil. He will think, I am being punished the most, although he will have the least punishment. According to the reports of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, it says, if hell is opened to the size of needle's tip, all the inhabitants of the earth will die to its heat. Chains to bind. The Holy Quran says that the deniers, while there will be collars and chains around their necks, will be dragged to hell. The other end of these chains will be in the hands of the angels, and they will be dragged by these chains into the boiling water. Tears of the infidels. Acceding to a narration of Hazrat Anas radiallahu anhu, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O people, cry, and if you can't cry, pretend to cry, because the people of hell will cry so much that their tears will form channels on their faces. They will go and there will be so much tears and blood that if the boats are left in them, they will also start moving. Whenever those people want to get out of the suffocation of hellfire, they will be pushed into it, and they will be told to continue tasting the punishment of burning. Surah Hajj. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that if an iron hammer of hell is placed on the ground, then if all the jinn and humans want to lift it together, they cannot lift it. Narrated in Musnad Ahmad. In another tradition, if the iron hammer of hell is struck on a mountain, it will crumble to ashes. May Allah save us all from the punishment of hellfire and grant us the ability to do the things that will save us from the punishment of hellfire. How careless have we Muslims become? that we are not afraid of such severe and terrible punishments and yet dare to sin. May Allah protect us from sins and let us not fall for any fitna, so we live our life as righteous Muslims. May Allah grant us paradise instead of the burning hell. To get to know how we can maximize our chances to enter Jannah and what we can expect in the hereafter, watch this video where we explain the 8 doors of Jannah and the beauty that awaits us there inshallah. Jazakallahu khair.